Hey, welcome into the show today. Tuning into the Earl Hall Show. Today, we're going to be talking about how to use podcasting to grow your business. Let's get into it. Business owners that want a professional commercial created for the product or service you sell, listen up. At Earl Hall Studio, LLC, we have created commercials and voiceover for companies like HP, HUD, smartphone apps, and more. You could even hear our commercials on ABC News. Would you like an affordable commercial created in our award-winning production studio? Visit us now and get a free quote for your needs at www.earlhallstudio.com. earlhallstudio.com. Good Tuesday morning, everyone. Welcome into the live show today for the Earl Hall Show. We're going to be talking today about how to use podcasting to grow your business. This is going to be something, I had my music, doing podcasting, let me just tell you this, you got to click a lot of buttons, especially when you're doing a live show. So thank you everyone for tuning in today. Podcasting is something that is very, very near and dear to my heart. I absolutely love podcasting. I've been podcasting for over a decade now. Whether we're talking about an audio podcast or even a vlog like on YouTube, I have a very large YouTube following, over 8,000 people. I guess maybe it depends on what you consider large when it comes to numbers, but having over 8,000 subscribers to a YouTube channel that's just about 3 years old was pretty good for me, especially for the market that I was in. So we want to get in today talking about how it is that you can use podcasting to grow your business. Now, one of the main things about podcasting that is so amazing to me is that, well, it's a couple of things. You can instantly monetize your podcast. On most of the platforms that are out there, I'm talking about, well, I use Spreaker, Spreaker.com. There's Blog Talk Radio and there's Anchor.fm. All of those platforms are amazing. And depending on, what it is that you're really looking to do with the podcast, being able to instantly monetize is truly amazing. Because when you are doing a podcast, I wouldn't say that the main thing you want to focus on right off the bat is making money from the podcast. But there are several ways that you can make money off of the podcast. I'm thinking about, some people right now, Sonny Lenarduzzi. There's a couple of other folks, big folks on YouTube, Sean Cannell, and they have podcasts as well. And they use the podcast to give away some great information because you want to make sure that you're giving out relevant information to the audience that you have. Things that are going to be interesting for them to consume on a regular basis. Some people are very narrowly focused on what they talk about, which is great. And then you have shows like this, the Earl Hall Show, that talks about a lot of different things because, well, reaching 50 years of age, you got a lot of stuff you can talk about. But, people like that, they use things like Amazon to share links on Amazon and make revenue that way. They sell advertising spots on their show. Now, again, if you're just starting out in podcasting, you're probably not going to get a lot of advertisers, that want to pay you big money. But if you do something on a consistent basis and you start building an audience, because that's the goal. That's where everything is. That's where the rubber actually meets the road is, can you build an audience around what it is that you have to talk about? Can you hold people's attention and keep them interested and engaged in what it is that you're talking about? Because if you can, in whatever niche you're in, you can really do some amazing things in podcasting. And here's the thing, audio is really blowing up right now. It is at a very good stage for anyone that has a product or a service or a book or whatever to sell or offer to the world. It is a very good place to build that audience. We have things like, I mentioned that I have a YouTube channel with over 8,000 subscribers to it, right? And here's the thing, we multitask all the time. We multitask all the time. You can have a YouTube video playing in the background, but it doesn't mean that you're watching the video because you're multitasking. You're sitting in your office, you're sitting in your home, whatever it is that you're doing, but you are multitasking. You're not just sitting there watching the video. And so this is why audio is so key and so important. By the way, anyone that's tuned in right now live, you can go ahead into the chat. Let me know that you're here. If you're on theearlhallshow.com page, you can click the little chat bubble or the comment bubble. Even if you're not listening live, you can always hit that bubble and send me a comment or a question or whatever it is you'd like to communicate with me. That is fine. But the whole thing around multitasking that we do every single day, just think about your own actions. And especially if you're someone that consumes content, you're doing other things besides just listening to that content. That's what makes audio podcasting so amazing and so great. The key thing about podcasting, if you're going to do it, is that you don't want to build a podcast or a show around selling your services. No one's going to tune into that every day, listening to you sell the services that you offer. Now, there's obviously other ways that you can do that, right? I'm sitting here right now talking to you about a subject of podcasting and how you can use podcasting to build your business. Well, in the show notes, there are links to different things that I have. There's different things that I offer. I've got an Amazon influencer account. There's other things that I offer, but here's the thing too, and if you want to find out everything that you can find out about me, all you have to do is go to earlhall.co. It's earlhall.co. You can find out every little detail about what it is that I'm doing. But when you're doing a podcast, make it relevant, useful information to the people that want to consume it. Make it entertaining. I mean, some people do podcasts like I do most of the time alone. There will be times where I have guests on. As a matter of fact, I've got a list of guests that I'll be bringing on here in the next couple of weeks to talk about the things that they are interested and passionate about. So when you're building a podcast, don't think about it as a way initially to make a bunch of money, a bag of money, a ton of money. You want to use your podcast to build your influence around the knowledge that you have. You want to use your podcast to build a fan base and an audience, and then that's when the advertisers come, right? Even though you can immediately monetize on the different platforms that I talked about, Spreaker, Blog Talk Radio, and Anchor.fm, you won't make a lot of money initially because they base paying you on your listenership. Now, since I've been doing this so long, I'm rather lucky to be making the money that I make with the podcast that I produce, but that's only because I've been doing it for years. So when you're looking at monetizing, know that immediately jumping into podcasting, you can immediately monetize. But where the rubber's going to meet the actual road is when your audience is built to an amazing degree. So I'm going to take a short little break here right now, but we're going to come back and I'm going to talk to you about how to bring awareness to your show, how to bring awareness to the podcast. What is it that you need to do? How to distribute your podcast out? And we're going to talk about that. So keep it locked right here. You're tuned into The Earl Hall Show. Stop listening to others and start listening to the best part of you. I know, probably just like me, you have sought answers and guidance from mentors, gurus, and coaches. The problem for you has probably been that you have found some success with that approach, but nothing earth-shattering. Here's the thing. If you want a better business, a better relationship, a better life, then how can anyone else actually give that to you? Why do you think that the answers to what you want are inside of someone else? They aren't. You and only you are the key to living your best life. Get the book, Transcend: How to Truly Connect with God and Create the Life You Want by Dr. Earl B. Hall. Available on Amazon in paperback and Kindle. Are you an author or a publisher? Do you have a professional book trailer to promote your books? A professional book trailer video can be just what you need to tell the story of your book in less than 60 seconds, just like a movie trailer. See examples and get yours today at www.probookpromo.com. probookpromo.com. Hi, my name is Earl Hall, and I'm the author of Align with Your Purpose, available on Amazon.com. What would happen to your life if you were actually walking in your purpose? Nothing you will ever do in life is more important than walking in your purpose. It is time to break some of the rules and finally live the life of greatness you were meant for. Get Align with Your Purpose now, available on Amazon.com. Thanks so much for keeping it locked right here. You are tuned into The Earl Hall Show. We broadcast live Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. on the East Coast. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, is it? No, 11 a.m. on the East Coast, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, 8 a.m. on the West Coast, right here at www.theearlhallshow.com. We're distributed out on, oh my gosh, we just got on Alexa. You can actually say, Alexa, ask Spreaker to play The Earl Hall Show, and it'll play it for you. We're on iTunes. We're on Apple Podcast. We are everywhere. Even now, as of actually yesterday, we are on the TuneIn app. So you can find The Earl Hall Show on the TuneIn app as well. Before I went to break, we were talking about monetization of a podcast and potentially how it is that you can do that. And I want to get into some of the things that will help that out, especially talking about distribution, kind of like I just did. I told you about the different places that you could hear this and subscribe to the podcast, and I have all that information right on my podcast page, which is theearlhallshow.com, which most of you have already seen. And then when it comes down to monetizing, you guys heard the commercials that I played at the beginning of the show. Just now during the break, you heard some commercials from me. So you can offer your products and services in your podcast, but you don't want to just be exclusively talking about that. You want to be talking about something that's actually relevant to, again, the audience that you're trying to serve. When it comes down to distribution, I remember back when I first started podcasting, distribution was not what it is today. It was not as good. I mean, if you get on a platform like Spreaker or Blog Talk Radio, they're going to distribute your podcast out for you. Like I'm on Spotify because of me being on Spreaker. You can just automatically have it be distributed on Spotify. It's on Apple Podcast automatically because I'm on Spreaker. Same thing with Blog Talk Radio, automatically on iTunes. Same thing on Anchor. You're automatically on Google Play and all these other podcast platforms. You're going to be distributed widely. Now, here's the thing. When you're doing a podcast, you want to make sure that your titles are good. You want to make sure that you're using relevant tags or hashtags in your podcast as well so that it can be discovered and found. Because when we're talking about distribution and getting awareness out there, there are several things you must do if you're going to win. Now, I do these things now, and I've been podcasting for years, but the things that I'm about to tell you, if you don't do these things, it's going to hurt. And you're going to be wondering why people aren't tuning in or listening to your podcast. Now, I happen to do this live, but I know that most of my listens are not going to happen during this live session. I know that they're all, like 99% of them are going to come from the podcasted version because we like to listen to things on our own time. We like to, if we want to listen to a podcast, we'll pull it up on our favorite podcast platform and we'll listen to it. But here are some steps that I take in order to bring awareness to my podcast. I have an Instagram account. I have a LinkedIn account. I have a Facebook account. And I also have a TikTok account. Now, let me tell you what I did this morning to bring awareness on each of these platforms. I made a short 15-second video. I distributed, I'll start with Instagram. I put it in my story on Instagram. Instagram stories are huge. You got to use them. So I put a promo spot for this episode in my Instagram story. I put another promo spot on my Instagram wall. I went to Facebook. And here's the thing. When I put it on Instagram, I started the video by saying, hey, Instagram. When I put it on Facebook, I said, hey, Facebook. When I put it on LinkedIn, I said, what's up, LinkedIn? When I put it on TikTok, hey, TikTokers, how you doing? And because you want to make it specific to the platform. I think it is a mistake to make one video and just post it all over the place. I think you want to talk and speak directly to the people that are on that platform. So Instagram, I posted a story, posted it on my wall. Facebook, I posted it in a story on Facebook, and I posted it on my wall. On LinkedIn, I posted it. Well, they don't have stories on LinkedIn, so I just posted the video on my LinkedIn profile page. And on TikTok, I did it on TikTok as well. Now, here's the kicker. After I do this podcast, I'm going to create posts again for those 4 different platforms in a native manner to let them hear some of the show and give them a link where they can go and listen to the show if they so want to. So there's things you have to do before the podcast, and there are things you have to do after the podcast. Now, I'm so glad Facebook came out with the Creator Studio. I just found out about it this morning. The Creator Studio will now allow you to upload videos to Instagram, which you used to couldn't do. You could upload videos for your story, but not for your wall. Now they're letting you do that. You can upload stories right from your PC or Mac straight up to Instagram. So you can do all this finagling on your laptop or computer, make it real pretty, and upload it straight to Instagram. It is a huge game changer because before I had to, download the video, get the video on my phone. Then I had to upload the video to my wall. And this is just cutting out so much time. So the promotion part of what you do is vitally important. It is vitally important that you do that. This is how you continue to bring awareness to your show. And if you don't bring attention to this, and if you don't understand that this is what you need to do to grow a podcast, I don't know what you're doing. So there's the pregame show, there's the show, and there's the postgame show that you have to do for your podcast to bring awareness to it. Now, if you have guests on, it's great also because those guests that you have on when you share your podcast out, hopefully they're great people and they'll share that out too to their audience. So if you can get great guests that have great social media practices and great followings, you're going to grow your audience. Really, probably one of the biggest ways to grow your audience is to do interviews. But there and again, if you're just starting out, who's going to be on your podcast? Who wants to be on your podcast? Not to say that they won't, but sometimes people want to see some proof in the pudding, right? They want to see that you know how to do what it is that you're doing. And that is vital and that is key. So we've talked about monetization, the distribution, how to bring awareness to your show, the whole thing with podcasting being passive and people just listen. They don't have to watch. And it is something that is growing. Look, I want to bring your awareness to one of my pages. I want you to check out earlhall.co. It's simply earlhall.co. It is where you can find out every last bit of information about me that you would ever want to know as a coach, as an entrepreneur, as a voiceover artist, as an audio production engineer, video production, creating the life that you want. You can see my Amazon store. You can click there and also listen on Alexa as well. But look, if you're even thinking about starting a podcast, if you want some more information, just put a note in the comments. I'll see it and we can correspond and we can get you going as well. I want to thank you so much for tuning into this episode of The Earl Hall Show with your host, Earl Hall, right here operating out of Studio A in Earl Hall Studio in downtown Milwaukee, Wisconsin. You guys have an awesome and amazing day. I'll see you soon.